Hey everybody, welcome back to My Wings of Refuge. I'm so excited today. One is getting so close to Christmas, but the other thing is I'm making one of my favorite holiday desserts today, homemade baklava. And so one of the things we're going to do first is start with our nut mixture, okay? I've already crushed all these nuts up. This is our almonds, and I have about a cup of crushed almonds here. We're going to toss that in. Then I have crushed up walnuts. We're going to dump that in. And we have a cup here of crushed up pecans. Then we're going to add a cup of ugly white sugar. I say that because most of the recipes that I make are usually really healthy, and I normally never use ugly white sugar. But for this recipe, I'm making it all original, and it comes with ugly white sugar. So we're going to toss in that cup of sugar. Again, give it another whirl. For our seasonings, we're going to add a tablespoon of ground cloves. I love cloves. Smells wonderful. Smells like Christmas. And we're going to add a tablespoon of cinnamon. Now y'all, I am really picky about my cinnamon. And so I use the Ceylon cinnamon. Saigon is not bad, but Ceylon for me is the best. Normal cinnamon most of the time is cassia cinnamon that you get from your local grocery store most of the time. After you eat real cinnamon, you may not want that anymore. This cinnamon is fantastic. Okay, so I gave that a good stir. I believe the secret ingredients in this really might be the orange zest. So I'm going to take 2 oranges. I've already washed them really good to make sure there's no wax coating on them. And I'm going to use my tiny cheese grater. Or if you have a zester, that works too. I always use this. It's really about the same. And I'm just going to shave some of this orange peel right in. And again, we're going to give it another good stir. Okay, so our nut mixture is ready. Now we're going to take a seat at the kitchen table because we're going to sit down for the next stage because it's a little time consuming and we want to get comfortable. So one of the other ingredients that you will need is phyllo dough. This often comes in a box like this, and it looks a lot similar to puff pastry. You don't want puff pastry, you want phyllo dough. What phyllo dough is tiny, thin sheets, almost like sheets of paper, but it's dough. So one of the first things we're going to do is just coat our pan really well with melted butter. Now I'm telling you, this is not a health food, y'all, except I do use real butter because that margarine stuff was never meant to be digested. It's like eating plastic. So we're going to take 1 super thin sheet very carefully of our phyllo dough, and we're going to lay it about 3/4 of the way into our pan so that it drapes over the end. And we're going to paint it with more butter very lightly. When you're doing one single sheet like this, it's easy to tear, so you'll want to be kind of careful with it. That. And then we're going to do the same thing on this other end so that they overlap in the middle and hangs off a little on this end. And I'm just going to do a little pressing down, adding more butter. Gotta have butter for the holidays. We wonder why we put on a few extra pounds, I guess. I know why. do this about 3 more times because we want it to be nice and sturdy on the bottom for when we fold this up. So again, we're just going to pack it a little bit. It'll start sticking to the butter underneath, which will help hold it in place. It'll help keep it from tearing a little. Okay, so now we have our bottom done, and so what we've done is we've just started about halfway, 3/4 of the way. You want it to overlap in the middle, and you want it to hang off on the edges because later we're going to fold it in and it helps hold all the nuts and stuff in. So now we're going to take our nut mixture, and we're going to, this is a 1 cup measuring cup. I like to use it mainly to scoop. We're going to use about 1/2 to 3/4 of a cup here, and we're just going to lightly sprinkle evenly all across. Now we're going to take our phyllo dough and we're going to put a sheet straight on top. Those little nuts can sometimes poke holes. It's okay. Just be very careful when you're adding your butter so that it doesn't tear too badly. I like to kind of do the edges first because sometimes it acts a little bit like glue. Okay, and then a second sheet. Pack it a little. More butter. Okay, so now you see kind of what we're doing. We're going to do another nut mixture. Making sure we get evenly distributed. So we do nut mixture, 2 layers of phyllo dough, nut mixture, 2 layers phyllo dough, and we're going to do that several times until we get really low on our nut mixture, and then we're going to fold in our edges. Point, we're ready to fold in our sides, and then we want to add some butter there. You can tell it's starting to get a little bit crispy. Okay, where it's crispy, add butter. Now we're going to take a few more sheets of phyllo dough just to lay right over the top. If you have a small tear, it's okay. I wouldn't want my very top one to be that way because you'll notice it. More butter. Go get in your bed, Jacobus. Go get in your bed. About out of butter, but that is okay. I have one last sheet. I'm going to go ahead and top it off. Now, what we're going to do is set this aside. We're going to cut it before we bake it in the oven, but I'm going to go ahead and prepare my second pan. Okay, so we're preheating our oven at 350, and while it's heating up, we're going to use our sharpest knife that we have. This is my favorite one to do with this. So now we're going to start in the corner, and we're going to make diagonal cuts, and then we're going to turn it and do it again. We want these to be small bite-sized pieces because this is going to be very rich. Okay, so our baklava is in the oven, and it is time now to get our syrup ready so that when that oven goes off, we can pull that out, and we want to be ready to pour the syrup onto our baklava. So we're going to get started with 3 cups of white sugar. Oops. 2 cups of water. Tossing in my 2 cinnamon sticks. And here I have a cup of local honey. Now y'all, I have bees. This is my first year with bees, my first winter with bees, and they're doing fantastic. And they made a lot of honey this year, but only enough honey for them to live on through the winter. So next year I'm looking forward to my own honey, but with the local Beekeepers Association, I was able to get honey from some friends. For me, local, real honey is incredibly important. Okay, then we want about a teaspoon of lemon juice. So I'm just going to use a lemon. And we want to bring this to a boil. And as soon as it's boiling and bubbling, we want to back it off to a light simmer until it comes out of the oven. I'm going to go ahead and reduce the heat now. So it'll be coming out of the oven soon. I want to go ahead and take out my cinnamon sticks. And I can go ahead and discard them. Okay, they are fresh out of the oven, and this is the most exciting part. We're going to take our really hot syrup and we're going to pour it right over top of this really hot baklava. That's really it, y'all. We're going to let this sit here. We're going to let it cool down a little bit to room temperature. We'll put lids on it. It needs to sit overnight. So I'm going to let it cool down to temperature and let this simmering settle. Then we'll cover it, and I will be taking this to a party tomorrow. Thank you so much for being with me today as I make the baklava. I hope you enjoyed today's recipe. If you did, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. If you have a recipe that is similar to this, maybe you make baklava and you do yours just a little bit different, hey, go ahead and comment. I'd love to hear yours. My way is not the only way, and I love to learn from you. So comment down below. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think about baklava. And don't forget to subscribe, because around here you just never know what we're going to be doing next. So have a great day. I'll see you next week on Christmas Eve.